Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. It's October webinar, and really delighted to have you on the call. Could you just do me a favor, and there's an option there to raise your hand if you can hear us. Of course, if you actually raise your hand, I probably won't be able to see it. But okay, we have someone raising their hand, so all good. Sounds like you guys can hear us. So this is awesome. This is our fourth webinar, and again, really delighted to have you guys on board. And when I say on board, it does look like we're on board because I feel when I see myself look like I'm a pilot. It's rather exciting. And I'm joined by my co-pilot. Actually, I'm the co-pilot today because the main pilot is going to be Umar Riaz, our senior technical consultant at WebVine, one of our senior consultants. Welcome, Umar.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Marcus. Super excited for this webinar today.
Great. And Umar has a wealth of experience, and he will be sharing his insights around external collaboration in Office 365. And we will get right into it because we have only got a short time. Great to see so many people signed up and interested in this very important topic. Let's click to the next. So Office 365 and collaboration tools within Office 365. I presume that you guys on the call are using Office 365 or moving to Office 365. And you will know there are a ton of features on there. And with all of those, almost all of them have the ability really, don't they, to collaborate with people externally. And this is becoming more and more important, of course. You know, it's not enough to just have your bit of internal collaboration inside your company, but we want easier ways to communicate with people outside rather than just relying on email, which is traditionally what we do. Actually, we traditionally just use email internally as well in a lot of places, which is pretty inefficient. But also we see our clients asking us more and more about, hey, we have some vendors that we want to collaborate with. We have some external bodies that we want to collaborate with. I don't know, maybe there's a board that we want to collaborate with and so on. And how can we share information in a more efficient way? And thankfully, Microsoft has given us a lot of choice with this. So you can see here, we've just circled a number of the tools within Office 365 that are meant for this level of collaboration and that you can collaborate with people externally. And so, yeah, hopefully you will learn a few things today. Of course, it does depend on IT and it depends on what they've allowed for your organization. And Umar, you can definitely talk to us about that also. But we have here, you know, someone like if you want to collaborate with a guest, it's really someone who is not an employee. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, Umar?
Yeah, so a guest could be someone who's not part of your organization, and he could be like your supplier, your customer. So technically, they would be having any other Office 365 identity account. So let's say I'm collaborating with my supplier who also have their Office 365 tenant. So they can be part of my collaboration. In this case, I can invite them to my Office 365 site as a guest. So this is the concept of guest, and it's pretty much applicable to all the applications which are listed here. And in future, it would be like further extended to other Microsoft services in Office 365.
Okay, great. And so let's move ahead and we'll start to look at some of these tools.
Yeah.
And of course, SharePoint's a core application that we work with here in WebVine extensively. And it's probably there's a number of our clients on the call as well who've worked with us in this. And for those of you who are not that familiar with SharePoint, you know, SharePoint has a content management system for kind of web page creation. Typically, we create a lot of intranets with SharePoint. We have a ready-to-go intranet solution called Ingeo that does that. You can create forms and workflows. For example, someone submitting a leave form, it's getting approved, and so on. You can have dashboards in this. You can there's a whole document management capability within SharePoint. What else have I left out, Umar?
Yeah, man, it could be the applications where you want to involve your, like again, the guest people. So again, pretty much everything that you can do in SharePoint can be extended to the external collaborators.
Okay, great.
So in order to achieve this, you have actually a lot of governance policies that you need to configure at the initial level before it's available as a very simple configuration for the end user to share at a site level or at a specific document library or at a folder level, which we will show you shortly. So what you usually do is at the Office 365 level, first of all, you need to allow a policy at a company level which says, okay, whether I'm allowing external sharing or not. So that's the first part. If that policy is enabled, then at the next level, there are few settings at the SharePoint level which says, okay, whether I'm allowing in total in my SharePoint environment to share externally with the anonymous users or with the signed in users. And then we choose specifically under which site we are provisioning these policies, because it's a bit risk at a time that we allow this policy globally for all the sites to share externally. So that's the purpose. We only keep this option very restricted to certain sites only. Now for this demo, we have already pre-configured the policy, and what I will show you is, as a user, I can show piece of information from my existing intranet with an external user who is on another Office 365 tenant. So moving on to a demo. So I'm right now logged in with my user on our intranet.
I see there. Sorry, one of you guys is saying there's bit of there's a bit of an echo happening. So what I'll do is I will try and mute my. I think you could leave your one, and because we're sitting next to each other, so maybe that's the problem. So I will try and mute my one for now, and I'll just pop it on. Thanks for that, and I'll enable it just when I need to say something. Okay. You carry on there, Umar.
Okay. So let me know if the voice is still echoing.
Yeah, I'll just be figuring out how to try and stop that at the minute. You can, yeah, you just keep going. Oh, that's better. Okay, we didn't do anything. Anyway, oh, hang on, I can mute myself. That's easy. All right, here we go.
Okay, so that's cool. So now I'm logged into my intranet here, which is based on the SharePoint, and it's called Ingeo. It's branded with the Ingeo platform. So from this intranet, what I'll do is I'll share one of the folders in the SharePoint document library with my external user. Now you'll see sharing is very simple, but there is a lot of legwork which has already been done in terms of configuring these governance policies, which allows me to share with the certain external users. So sharing is as simple as, let's say if I have decided to share this folder with my external user, I just selected the folder and I will select the option of share, and I'll just pick my user here. This is my external user on another Office 365 tenant. And it says, okay, this user is outside your organization. So this is resolved by my SharePoint environment, Office 365 environment, and it treats this user as a guest. So while sharing, I can also specify what kind of permission I want to give to this user when it comes to collaborating with the documents, whether I want this user to edit with me or I just want them to view this document. And since I'm right now using this intranet with an admin user, so it by default gives me the permission option. Sometimes what happens if another, like a normal user is using this operation, it also gives you some advanced configuration where you also specify under which group you want to add this user. So let's say if I just share this invitation with a user, So as the next step, what will happen, an email invitation will go to this user. And if it's a first time invitation, the user would have to accept that invitation in the email before they are onboarded to this site to access that specific piece of information which is shared with them. So that part has already been done. This user was already onboarded for first time. So I'll show you what kind of notification this user will receive this time. So usually it takes few seconds to receive the notification. Okay, the notification is here now. So it says, okay, this guy has shared this specific folder with you. Do you want to open? So I can open this documents folder from my email. And when I click the link, it directly takes me inside this specific folder, which contains a lot of documents. And my user is already onboarded with a certain permissions. I can show you this user can already do the edit permission things. And if I try to go back to show you further what level of access this user has, I'm not compromising my security anywhere. This user can only see what he was allowed to see. So this user from the external collaboration was restricted to a certain piece of collaboration only. So that's why his scope is very limited. I can also show you whether this user can really browse the site right now or not. So in general, this user has no access to the site, but he has only access to the specific documents area and only to those specific folders only. If I further take you back to show you, this documents area in the intranet originally contained a lot of documents which are not visible to my external user. So yeah, so these are a lot of documents. So what I can do further is I can also share the entire site with this user. And it's again a very simple operation. It's just a matter of one click where you just need to click on share from an authorized user. And share option is always available on SharePoint. And I'll just pick the same user. And SharePoint would help me resolve this user as an external user. And I can just share this site. Again, if I go back to my user and check the email invitation, and this time when I click on this link, okay, so now the entire site is shared with this user. So you can see I'm logged in with this user. So it's very simple. Now the catch over here is if you are talking about intranet and you have all your content inside intranet, whether you have this organization decision that you want to share the entire intranet with your external collaborator, that's not mostly the case. You would have certain subset of information for your external collaborators, which could be your suppliers, which could be customers. So in some cases, you would have a dedicated site created for your all external collaborators. In some cases, you say, okay, I have some specific set of consortium suppliers, and I only want to have a dedicated site for them. So you will create a dedicated site for them. You will enable collaboration, external collaboration policy on it. And you can also go to an extent where you say, okay, I will only restrict my external collaboration invites to the certain domain users only. Let's say abc.com, xyz.com, efg.com only, and no other domains. If you have some other like need where you say, okay, I have a need to share with my all like customer base, which is a huge customer base, and I don't want to get into a hassle of signing them in, I could create a site and enable anonymous access policy over there. So in this way, you have different permutations available, which you can configure according to your business use cases. So moving on to the slides again, just to show you. So this is pretty much what we covered. You can share entire site. You can share a document if required sign in. You can share a site or a document which does not require a sign in, that is with an anonymous access as well.
And I appreciate that IT might not like the anonymous access feature that much. So next, we're going to have a look at Office 365 and see how, Umar, can you describe to us here like how external sharing can work generally within the 365 environment, extending into Microsoft Teams in
Yeah.
particular?
So like in Office 365, we have a lot of services in form of SharePoint, Office 365 groups, Teams, OneNote, Office apps. So what happens initially, all the policies are governed at an Office 365 tenant level. So first of all, you tell, okay, whether my tenant is supposed to allow the external sharing or not. So if that policy is enabled, you further tell at a tenant level, okay, let's say whether I want to allow my Teams to be enabled for the guest or not, whether I want to allow my SharePoint to enable the external sharing or not. Then these services automatically inherit some of the global policies from your Office 365, and then they have their own specific settings. Okay, when it comes to the SharePoint, okay, what sites you want to say which will allow external collaboration, and what type of settings you can configure in their individual sites then. So this is configured at the SharePoint level. Now, Office 365 Groups, which we'll talk shortly about it, this is also a technology which is based on Office 365, but it uses the infrastructure of SharePoint. So it has its own guest settings, and it also inherits some settings which are configured at a SharePoint level, because when it comes to the document management, it's pretty much the same features which are available in SharePoint. So it inherits the settings from the SharePoint. And yeah, when it comes to the Teams, it's based on the Office 365 Groups infrastructure. So it inherits the settings from Office 365 Groups.
So we might just briefly describe, actually, could you guys raise your hand if you can see that option there, if you're using Office 365 groups, or even if you know about groups? Be interesting to see if any of you are familiar with this. So groups really allows you, Umar, to create like a shared mailbox, have some shared documents, have a shared discussions. And it's typically meant, isn't it, so that users in the business can quickly create a group.
That's right.
For some people that they're sharing information with. So they don't have to, traditionally you have to go to IT to create, maybe you have to go to those guys to create a SharePoint group and so on. But here, if the policy allows it, someone could spin up a group and go, hey, I'm collaborating with these 10 people across the business, and quickly create a space, isn't it, to do that. And then, of course, you have Teams, which is different again. Did you want to describe how they're maybe perhaps different?
Okay, so Teams is more like a Slack or Facebook kind of environment. It's a chat space mainly. It's a virtual chat space which allows you to have a conversation in a more interactive manner with your team. You can define a team which could be your internal team, external team, or mix of both. And then you could have all your conversations recorded there. You can collaborate and converse around certain things. For example, if you are creating a document, so usually we face this a challenge that, okay, people are creating the document in some other environment, and then they're collaborating in Skype, and they are sharing the screens. So you can do these things together in a single environment. And it's not, the beauty is not restricted to a single application. It's not only about documents. It could be, let's say you are doing a task management in Asana, and you could again bring up your Asana activities in the Teams as a tab, and you can collaborate over there.
So we just have one question here from Jeff. Jeff's asking, is access to Office 365 groups dependent on enterprise-wide policies?
Yes, we can configure the policies at the Azure AD level, which users you want to allow to use the groups. You can restrict your AD groups to use the Office 365 groups, and there is a lot of rich PowerShell scripts and administration available which can allow you to govern the Office 365 groups policies. Generally, it's available to all, so you have to control it if you want to restrict it.
Great, thanks, Umar. Thanks, Jeff. All right, let's carry on.
Okay, so do we have more questions?
No, we're good for now. We'll
okay.
Plow ahead.
Okay, so like Marcus has already shared the information about Office 365 groups. So this is how the shared mailbox looks like. So that every conversation that you have in the quick Office 365 groups is recorded as an email notification, and it goes to the team, which is part of the groups. And again, the team in the group could be your internal team, external team, or mix of both. You could have private groups or public groups, which is just the only difference is private groups cannot be discovered. Public groups can be discovered. Those are searchable. So this is in general, like if you don't have access to Office 365 group and it's shared with you, and you must sign in with Microsoft account. And Microsoft account could be, in this case, either your another Office 365 tenant Microsoft account, which is your work or school account, or it could be your live account, which is Outlook account or Gmail account linked with the Windows Live ID. So this is showing that, okay, if the external users are added to Office 365 groups, they are symbolized as an icon, which is a globe icon. Definitely, as a guest, you cannot do a lot of things which a normal internal user or a group owner can do. So as a guest, your functionalities are a bit restricted in Office 365 group, but it's pretty much suffice the use cases. You are allowed to do a conversation, and you can search for a conversation. You can be part of any like messaging. That's in general. But like I said, Office 365 groups policies are inherited from the SharePoint. So if SharePoint allows you to do the external file sharing, so guests can also share the files in Office 365 groups. So teams. Marcus, do you want to talk a little bit about the teams here?
Look, Teams for us is I think it's a very exciting feature, very exciting tool. You guys might or might not know much about Teams at the moment. There's a lot of talk, you can create bots for Teams, like chat bots that can automatically answer people's questions and things. Certainly, we see it as a better way to collaborate, and you can get quite creative on how you construct your team. So if you have permission to use Teams, or if you're in the IT area, I would really recommend checking out Teams and seeing what value that can offer your organization.
Okay, so like we had some restriction for the teams, for the guest user, for Office 365 group, we also have some limitations, which are again very minor. So there are a few things which a guest account cannot do. I'll quickly show you the team as well. So this will make more clear at that time. Like for example, you cannot definitely manage a team while being a guest user, but you can pretty much be part of any conversation within a team. You can create a channel, because there is a concept of channel. There is a very important concept of tabs, which actually controls what information is being collaborated. So this is not something a guest user can do at the moment. It can be controlled by the team owner, which is the internal user pretty much. So I think before we move to the Yammer, or do you want to first cover the Yammer and then we go to the demo together?
No, I think we can hit the demo. I think that would be a good to do.
So I'll quickly show you a Teams demo here. And so I have already configured again a team here with my user. And so the Teams can be accessed using the Office web app, and a desktop app is also available. So right now, I will show you my account with which I am already logged into Teams. So it's just loading the team.
And of course, it depends on your Microsoft licensing as well as to whether you have Teams or not. And certainly it depends on whether IT allows you to access Teams. But otherwise, you can certainly just get to Teams within Office 365. When you go to the little waffle in the corner, you can find Teams if it's available. That's how you can get to it and check it out.
So again, from the governance perspective, you enable at Office 365 level whether you want to provision the Teams license for your guest users or not. Otherwise, it's by default enabled for your internal users. Administrators can definitely block the access of it or control the way it's being accessed. So there are a lot of granular configuration available. So in the team, there is a concept, when you create a team, it's linked to an Office 365 group behind the scene. And then you create different channels. Like we have a team called Webinar External Collaboration, and General is a channel within it. So Webinar External Collaboration right now has some conversations here. And we started with a conversation where I introduced everyone this chat space, and I sent some messages to my external user. So this is how my external user has collaborated yesterday. And he has also shared a file here. We can tag people internally or externally. So if I want to see who is part of my team at the moment, so it says, okay, these are the users, I'm the internal users, and I have 2 guest users. Further to this, how would I know, okay, whether this team has like internal users or external users? It says, okay, this team has guests. So guests are already part of this team. So conversations are going on, and as a team owner, I was like shared a file with my external user earlier, and he uploaded a file on Office 365 group. So I have a feature, I can make this file from Office 365 group as a part of a tab in team. And I have already created this as a tab in Microsoft Teams right now, which allows me to collaborate with my external user and review this presentation and update this presentation if we like. So if I switch my screen to the external user now, so there are actually 2 things here. So one thing is this external user has 2 accounts. So by default, when the external user logged into this environment, they could see the teams with his own account where the groups were listed for his company. And he ultimately, when the team was joined with him, he received a meeting invite, and he has to accept the meeting invite. So once the meeting invite is accepted and you log into the team, you can switch between your accounts. That is, okay, I'm a guest to a WebVine company, or I am logged into my company. So let's say in this case, I'm switching as a guest to WebVine company. I want to collaborate with WebVine at the moment. I want to review this presentation with one of the guys from WebVine. So what I'll do is I'll click on this team, and I can see this tab now enabled here. And while it's loaded, okay. So if I go back to the files, you see, I don't have an option to create a tab here. Neither I have a plus option here where I can create a tab. So tab is a very important concept of Teams. We can go into detail, but it's a very detailed topic itself. But it allows you to include what kind of information you want to collaborate with external users. So I can edit the document, update the document, so it says back to the Office 365 group. So what is happening behind the scene, I can quickly show you this part. There is an Office 365 group, which contains the file, which also contains its own site. So if I go back to my user to show you, again, those guests are also part of your Office 365 groups. So all the notifications will automatically be saved in Office 365 groups if you are just sharing in isolation. So this is how the external settings are working.
Fantastic. Thanks, Umar. And I see that we're very close to time. So maybe we'll just touch on Yammer finally, and then we'll take any questions you guys have.
Okay, so for Yammer as well, the external collaboration is possible. We can do it in the Yammer. We have an option of creating the groups, whether those are internal groups or external groups. And again, we can add the users in the external groups. Again, the settings are being dictated by your Office 365 global settings. And usually in absence of these external groups, we were collaborating with a Yammer as an external network as well. So it's very easy. And we already have an external Yammer group here. we have added some users, external guest users. If you see, Microsoft has been very consistent in representing guest users as this globe sign, and it's across all the applications. So these users has already been collaborating on the external like Yammer group. So this is pretty much it works like. So it's just like as a user, I have got access to this Yammer and I'm right now logged in. If you see, the network name is my network name. This is the network name for the Yammer. In case of WebVine, it's a webvine.com.au. In case of that Contoso user, it's their tenant name. But they have access to this specific group, and it again signifies with the globe sign, and they can collaborate in this Yammer group. And it's pretty much all the features are accessible to the group when they are assigned as a guest access.
Fantastic. Well, I'm just aware that some people might need to dash off to a meeting, and we should try and really finish. So OneDrive, again, you can share files externally.
Yep.
And Skype for Business as well. I'm sure many of you guys are using Skype for Business, and you probably already know that if another client or a partner or whatever has Skype for Business as well, you can also connect with them on Skype for Business. And
again, yeah, so you just got the policy at Office 365 level where you can control the access. If you want to disable for certain users or you want to restrict certain domains, you can restrict those domains in Office 365 level for Skype for Business collaboration as well.
And we certainly, collaborate with our partners and clients over Skype for Business, over SharePoint. We'll probably start doing it with Teams as well soon. So you can see this fantastic potential to work a lot more efficiently than just working across email. So if you have any questions, guys, definitely you can ask them now. You can also hit us up later on. We'll just show you as well. There's a couple of reports that you can. Oh, hang on. Do we have a chat here? I don't think so. No questions. I reckon everyone's dashing off to meetings. But if you like as well, we have a free personalized digital workplace or intranet analysis. So if you want to hit webvine.com.au, right on the homepage, if you want us to provide you a fantastic report, tailored report on your intranet, we do that for free. You just have to fill in a quiz. And we also have a 10 keys to digital workplace success report. And we had a message there from Andrea. Thank you so much. It's very insightful. Thank you, Andrea. Glad you got a lot out of it. Look, there's so many changes happening in this space that we like to just let our clients and the rest of you guys know what's happening so you can try and take advantage of that. If you want to connect with us, you can do in several ways. You can call us, you can email us, you can see all the information here, or email me directly, marcus@webvine.com.au. You can follow me on Twitter, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Just search for Marcus Sturgeon. Also, if you want to know more about the about Ingeo, that's our ready-to-go intranet solution, please visit ingeo.com or get in touch, and we can certainly show you a demo of that too. If you need any consulting development in SharePoint, Office 365, or Dynamics 365, do please get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, thanks Jeff as well for acknowledging the session. Thanks a lot. It's been fun. Thank you guys. Over and out.
Stop recording.